So, it's Wednesday, December 28th, and I'm here with my next video. Okay, I'm Tara, if you didn't catch that from my first video, and I'm a giant nerd. I'm just going to go over a list of what I consider makes me a giant nerd. The first thing that I really got into as a kid was reading. I read my entire life, and my biggest influence, I think, in reading was when I was in 2nd grade, and I read my first book from the adult section by M. McCaffrey, and I really fell in love with the Dragons of Pern series, and I'll still go back and read them to this day, but that was pretty much the thing that set me into the person who I am today. And then I really got into music as well. Music has been around my house my entire life, and I was exposed to both classical and oldies and jazz at a very young age, and I listen to popular and country too, and I still do that today, although a little less of the popular music because dubstep. And Star Wars was a really big influence in my life. In 6th and 7th grade, I own maybe 40 or 50 Star Wars books, and I've seen the movies more times than I can count. Wars. Han shot first. And then, of course, there's Lord of the Rings, and I actually got into that because of something we were playing in band. Oh yes, I'm a band nerd too. I play flute and piano and dabble in some other instruments, although not well. And Lord of the Rings, I fell in love with it. It's probably the main reason I want to go visit New Zealand, and that's kind of something that I really love. I can't wait for The Hobbit, and I'll talk about all of these things in a little bit greater detail in other videos. There's also anime and manga, which I got into about 2.5 years ago over a summer, and that was a really big part in my life. I started rewatching Pokemon, and before I knew it, I was watching several different series, and I was started to read manga, and it was really awesome just to feel like I finally fit in with something. Like I finally had that one thing that I loved, and that's why I will constantly mention anime and manga in videos later. I'm also a cosplayer. Right now I only have about 3 of my wigs at home, but I'll wear one in my next video, maybe, if I can find my wig caps. And I love to cosplay. I dress up as characters, and if you follow one of my other channels, Red Panda Chan, you can see my cosplay, some of my cosplay stuff there. I also really like some TV shows: Buffy, Dollhouse, Bones, Firefly, and Doctor Who, and Big Bang Theory. Those are my big TV shows that I watch. But I'll talk about those in a later video. Of course, most of those that I mentioned don't run anymore. But whatever. Or half of them. I don't watch Bones anymore. I don't even know if it runs. I rage quit it after season 4. So if it does run, you can leave a comment down below and I'll see it. And yeah. Then video games. I do love video games. I don't play them as much as I should, but I do love them. And while I don't play them and I don't own a lot, I spend most of my money on cosplay stuff. I do go over to friends' houses and play a lot of video games, or watch a lot of video games, and I know quite a lot about video game history, surprisingly, mostly due to webcomics, which is my last nerdy thing. I really love webcomics. XKCD, Cyanide and Happiness, Penny Arcade, and then just everything from MS Paint Adventures is my favorite, and I will definitely talk about MS Paint Adventures at a later time because I am a giant Homestuck nerd, and I can't really not talk about that. So there'll be lots of other videos where I explain everything that I've mentioned here in detail, but last thing I want to say is I'm a nerd fighter, DFTBA, Brandy. I'll see you tomorrow, and you'll see me on Friday.